Just run. Hey, what's up? I'm Coaster Cat, aka Roller Coaster Rider, and I'm here with Kay, and we are going to review probably the most boring movie we've ever seen, and the best antidote to a sleeping pill, Guy Ritchie's King Arthur: Legend of the Sword.
Let me just interject. I stayed awake during this movie. It wasn't the best movie, but I have fallen asleep during other not so good movies.
Did you feel the need to fall asleep?
No, because I was forcing myself to stay awake so we could do this review. Hey.
I'm gonna do a disclaimer. I'm really losing a lot of faith in Guy Ritchie as a director. Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, lots of people love those films. I barely remember them. Revolver, I think I saw that, but I don't remember it. Swept Away, I saw that, I don't remember it. The Sherlock Holmes movies were, they were good, but, Anyway. Man from U.N.C.L.E., as Double Toasted said, had the very hard struggle to stay awake, and the plot was very simple, and yet you found yourself unable to follow it most of the time.
Okay.
And so that's pretty much the review for King Arthur. It's a boring, slow British movie that has a simple plot that you can't follow, and just like Man from U.N.C.L.E., this movie bombed major.
Okay, so why don't we just get started? Do you want to start on what you remember before you fell asleep? Or do you want me to just kind of go through it?
I'll go as far as I did. You can correct me, and then I'll just react to your way of describing the other hour.
Okay.
Because seriously, people, I tried 3 times. About 2 minutes in, I was like, come on, stay awake.
Well,
stay awake.
There was action to keep you awake, but it was kind of weird action. Starting with elephants with metal boxes destroying the kingdom.
Like 60-foot tall elephants. This didn't feel like a Guy Ritchie King Arthur. It felt more like the Asylum's King Arthur.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember that. So
they also did what was
the Asylums is a group or production team, right?
Yeah, the Asylum Home Entertainment. They did that Sinister Squad.
Okay.
Do you remember that one?
Not really. Oh, yeah, that was kind of dumb and, playing off other movies.
Yeah.
But, you think that King Arthur and what was it? And the something sword?
Legend of the Sword.
Legend of the Sword. How can you go wrong with King Arthur? There's been excellent King Arthur movies out there.
Well,
but he did kind of,
You rely too much on style over substance.
Yep. Okay, so let's get
started.
Which
was the problem in Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Well, let's get started. Past the elephants with the metal boxes trying to destroy...
No, those were balls.
Oh, were they?
They were like wrecking balls, yeah.
Trying to destroy the bridge.
Apparently, Guy Ritchie is a Miley Cyrus fan.
Oh, maybe. Reference that. So, yeah.
Then I guess that's kind of like the ending or the middle of the movie, and then it kind of goes into a flashback. To describe his life, and a lot of people... One thing I do want to say is that a lot of people will say, oh, well, Guy Ritchie, he's a good director, he just got a bad script, or the studio messed him up. We saw the Blu-ray version, there's no extended cut, there are no deleted scenes, there were no special features whatsoever. So I'm guessing this was entirely the cut of the movie. But also, he's a producer of the movie, and he's the co-writer of the movie, and he's the director. This movie is all his fault.
Well, the movie kind of made me feel that...
Oh, but anyway, it starts as him like, what is that? Oh god, I'm trying to think, like Oliver Twist or something?
Right, he grew up kind of in the streets. He was taken in when his boat, or whatever he was in, rowboat or whatever, ended up in the shore, and brothel ladies took him in. So he was kind of like picking fights and stealing and everything to get money, and
so
it was hard knocks.
That point kind of
in the streets, alleys.
That point kind of reminded me of Tom Hanks in The Terminal, where he would just like get coins and then he'd be like, "Cheeseburger, please."
No, it was more.
That's the only part that reminded me of that movie.
Yeah, I was kind of reminded of The Lion King. How the uncle was hungry for the power.
Oh, yeah.
And Simba, was innocent and kind of left and, then kind of grew up on his own. So he grew up in the streets, the alleys, fighting and everything. And the brothel ladies took care of him. And so he was doing things to make money to take care of them.
I think at this point I'd already started, fading.
Oh. And then...
the black guy?
The Japanese group, or that one guy, really taught him how to fight.
Oh,
and so
yeah,
he grew stronger and stronger and grew and that. And he kind of was, arrogant.
I had no idea there were Asian people in Londinium in the 1500s.
I don't know either. But at this point, while he was still in the brothel, he was having dreams about seeing his mom... and seeing his dad, being killed and being in the rowboat and watching it and leaving. And then all the young men of the kingdom and all the areas around it were being sent upstream to the castle to try to pull the sword out of the stone. And so he was so arrogant that he went up to the head of the line and other people were like, "Oh, okay, back off, let him up there." And when he touched the sword, it was like an electric shock. It was kind of weird how they did that. But then...
apparently it was the sword of Grayskull.
And then he did pull it out and it knocked him out. He fainted. And he wakes up, and his uncle that he didn't know, he was in the dungeons, the jail.
Was this the point where they were where he was talking to what is it, sea creatures?
No, I thought of them as sirens. The women that would make that noise and take over, the minds or whatever of men and whatever. So I felt them of sea urchins or sirens in the water.
And one thing I do want to say, and Kay's gonna have my head for this, but please, Hollywood, if you're gonna have sirens, make the movie R-rated. It's kind of annoying and irritating when you have a topless woman covered by her hair and it's PG-13, because I was more focused on that than any dialogue in that scene.
Oh. But to get more power, he needed to have his nephew turn the sword over to him, and to keep getting his black magic sorcery, which they didn't really play into it very much. But he had to keep sacrificing loved ones to these creatures in the water.
Oh yeah, how
really
people
how
people always fell 50 or 60 feet, and then just the end of them.
Yeah, they ended up in the water. So anyway, when he pulls the sword out, and then he, from his uncle, kind of learns a little bit of his inheritance and that.
Who was Jimon Hansu?
Wasn't he...
He was the black guy.
Yeah, he worked with young Arthur's dad. He was an anointed knight. He was counsel or guidance or, whatever.
And I'm sorry, I had no idea what he was saying half the time. He was talking
Yeah, true. But
I got potato. What did you get?
I don't know.
That's a Craig Ferguson joke.
So, but anyway, everybody is trying to get to young Arthur and tell him of his inheritance. And he's so arrogant that he just wants to go back to the brothel. He was happy with it. But then some of the women from the brothel were brought, and his uncle, the king, had them killed in front of him. now he's starting to change his tune about, giving up the inheritance and stuff like this. So his uncle wants him to go out in front of everyone and be like beheaded and say, I give the sword to my uncle. I do not want anything to do with it. But then there's this other lady that's a sorcerer too, Mage, or what was her name? All of a sudden this hawk comes in and all these other people help him.
Let's just call her Lady Merlin.
Oh.
I was going to say Morgan Le Fay, but not a lot of people know that, so I'm just going to say Lady Merlin.
Yeah, and plus with the black magic of his uncle, they don't really go into it very much, so...
This movie sounds like a lot of... This movie kind of the way you're describing it, it reminds me of Jupiter Ascending, where they spent too much time explaining things that didn't need to be explained, not enough time explaining the stuff that you needed to know. In the beginning, they kept going back and forth.
Oh,
God, no scene at the beginning lasted longer than, 9 or 10 seconds, except for an elephant hitting something.
Yeah, they went back and forth. But anyway, this mage or whatever, she was learning sorcery, so this eagle comes in.
The enchantress.
This big hawk or whatever comes in and disrupts the beheading, and then this group of merry men with that one gentleman you couldn't understand.
Jimon Hansu.
They get young Arthur, they take him to his hideout, and then her role is to help him understand the sword. Get used to it. Be able to use it. Because every time he used it, he would throw it down.
So she's now his teacher?
Yeah, sort of. Because he had
Female empowerment!
He had to go to the Badlands or something and make it so far. And
oh, God. Now this sounds like The Lion King.
Remember the flying bats?
No.
Oh, you didn't see that?
No, I think I remember it.
And, everything. So he had to get to a certain point up this mountain and stick the sword down or whatever. So what she was trying to have him do is every time he held the sword, he kept having visions of when his mom and dad were killed. And he would drop the sword or throw it in the lake or whatever. And
Batman v Superman.
He couldn't get past that. So she was helping him do that. And then finally he sees that it was his uncle that killed his dad. Okay, now we're going to fight and get back.
Wasn't that in Assassin's Creed?
I don't know. So anyway, he talks.
A lot of this movie sounds like I don't remember any of this part now, so maybe it's when I was like, I can't do it anymore. But a lot of this seems like it's just ripping off other movies.
Yeah, maybe.
Lion King, Batman v Superman, Lady in the Water with the Hawk, Suicide Squad with the Enchantress.
Yeah. Well, all in all, because I'm probably going on too long and you guys are getting bored already, they rise up, they go to the kingdom.
300.
Yeah, whatever. Young Arthur does find his uncle. He does kill his uncle. And then...
Lion King.
Then he sets up this table.
Oh, God.
Okay, they're asking him, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, you were just at the table when you anointed him king and everything. So it's King Arthur and the Round Table. That's how they pulled that in there. So, but it ends...
Do you know why they did that?
Why? To show that he was a craftsman?
No, to sequel bait.
Oh, maybe.
This was supposed to be the first of 6 movies.
Oh, God, 6? Oh, no, not a good idea. But anyway, he anoints 2 of his younger friends. They become knights, and then...
Can I make a political joke?
No, not yet. Then he is anointed king in front of the kingdom, and the crown is placed on, and then he raises the sword, and woo, merriment, and he's saving everybody.
Was he going to make King Arthur great again?
I don't know.
Or Londinium great again.
Here's the thing. King Arthur is no longer accepting the deals that his uncle made with all these people. And when he was in the brothel and he was younger, the Vikings hurt one of the ladies in the brothel. I mean, really messed her up. And he never forgot that.
Now this sounds like Pan.
So then the Vikings come to have the kingdom grant their agreement, which was to give them all these thousands of younger boys to be worked as slaves, and he's like, no, he's not doing that.
Now this sounds like Dracula Untold.
Whatever. So then the Vikings finally bow to the new king. And,
sounds like Mulan.
And then he invites them to eat with his merry men.
Sounds like the Grinch.
And it's all downward from there. So,
is that the end of the movie, or is that like all you could remember?
No, the end is actually when he's out and he gets the crown on. So the Vikings come before he's anointed and whatever. So he has the crown on in front of the kingdom.
That sounds like the ending of The Last Airbender.
And he raises the sword. Ta-da! So, I probably told you too much, but I maybe...
The movie's out.
But I maybe told you enough to not see it. How's that?
Well...
I probably spoiled it for you.
I think Warner Brothers needs a few more people to see this movie, because on a $175 million budget...
They made less than 40, right?
No, I think it made like 130 million or something. Oh. Did it look like it cost 175 million?
Well, they tried to but they tried to make it sort of authentic, but it wasn't. Oh, and when the uncle died, this tower that he was building, it started to crumble and collapse. So then all the people in the kingdom knew, whoa, we have a new king. But anyway.
Oh my.
If you want to
Okay, you just made this movie sound way dumber than even I thought it was, and I thought it was dumb.
But, you know what? If you want to put yourself through it,
or if you just want to take a nap.
Or don't waste your time or money. I would not even put it at a rental. Maybe a freebie, but I don't know. I wouldn't see it again. And you actually asked me to try and watch it with you, but you still couldn't even watch it.
Yeah, after like 2 minutes, I was like closing one eye, and then I was like, come on, stay awake. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And
but then... it just got me that Guy Ritchie had the young Arthur, like, kind of...
unlikable?
Well, no, he was likable. He had stature, I don't know how, from the fighting or something, but he really was arrogant. You know, he was like, he had all the answer. You know, it's like...
Oh, now he's Neo?
Stop it. He didn't even grow up in the kingdom or anything. But anyway, that's my take on it, so I hope I bored you enough that you won't watch it.
This movie just sounds like this movie sounds like the writer or the studio just binge watched like a bunch of movies on like Spike TV or TNT.
Well, I think they just couldn't figure out which way they wanted the movie to go.
And something you said about how they wanted to keep it authentic. The movie opens up with 60-foot-tall elephants. No way was this movie trying to be authentic. And then
who could even tie the wrecking balls to their trunk? Who would even be able to do that? What elephant 60 feet tall would even sit still for somebody to do that?
And how could they even reach the elephant?
Well, because they were on the bridge and the elephant, they would say, bring your trunk up here. We're going to attach this to your trunk. So then you can wreck the kingdom so I can build the tower that I want.
So they were trying to be, I don't know if authentic or realistic, but at the same time, it's set in like fantasy, at mild fantasy.
Whatever.
It was set in, so... From the first, minute, the movie had no idea what it wanted to do, and it's at odds with itself. Plus the flashbacks and the slow-mo speed-up, from what I've heard. See, I'm making you tired just talking about it.
Well, you know, the one thing that was interesting is they did correlate two things the same. So when his uncle was in this warrior, ancient, whatever costume with the powers he possessed, when he killed his father, well, he didn't actually kill the father. The father threw the sword up in the air, knelt down, and the sword hit the top vertebrae and killed him. Then he turned to stone. His father turned to stone. And then at the end...
Okay, this movie is just... I think that's Medusa.
And then at the end, as he's, being kind of beat up by his uncle, he's doing all this flashback. And once he realized it was his uncle and how his father was killed, so when the sword, he was like in the flashback, and the sword was coming down to his dad's top of his neck back, he grabbed the sword, came to, and then killed the uncle.
What the heck?
You're yawning now. So anyway, it's going to be a while before I see another Guy Ritchie movie.
Oh, he's making Aladdin.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. Why? Why would they let him? But anyway, so how would you rate it?
I would say Disney's Sword in the Stone. That came out like 30 plus years ago. Probably 40 plus years ago. That sounds like the superior version.
Yeah, but wasn't there another one with Sean Connery or something?
Camelot or something?
Yeah.
Or...
So anyway,
how did you see the movie?
Better.
Did you see the movie Knight's Tale?
I think so. That had that gentleman that
Heath
died.
Ledger.
Yeah.
What would you rather watch? Again, King Arthur or that?
No, that one. That one most definitely. So if you want to see a good one, either watch the one with Sean Connery, watch Disney, or watch the one that you just mentioned.
Knight's Tale.
Yep. Anyway.
And Warner Brothers, I don't know who's in charge. I don't know who's in charge of your finance, but you gotta hire someone new. This movie should not have cost $175 million and been this confusing and this boring.
But they showed you in the beginning where it took place.
Yeah, Londinium.
Whatever.
So, just make like a $50 million action movie. That's really all you need. Maybe another $40 million for effects, but don't make me see another Pan or Jupiter Ascending or this again. And they've got another one of these coming out. So, yay. Bye.
Bye for now.